Hello!
Hi!
I am so excited today. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special edition. It's not a special edition, but it's the end of Pride Month, and we're celebrating.
Yes, we are.
I am super excited.
It's a celebratory day.
It's crazy to think how quickly we got through all of these beautiful colors on our rainbow. My shirt says love wins, and I feel like it cuts up on the camera, so I wanted to show it, and then now I'm just going to chill the rest of the day. I feel like I'm like, look at my shirt. I love yours too. Yes, let's do that. Look at my shirt. Oh my goodness. Well, as always, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys are enjoying this, and we'll keep making it fun for you, but this is the last day of us, unfortunately, drinking through the rainbow. And it has been so fun. We've learned so many new drinks and so many. I'm going to be a really great host now. I can offer people things.
I know. It's amazing how many drinks you can make with the same two liquors.
So let's show our drink, just in case they settle.
Show it.
I don't want to shake it.
Guys, I mean, hold on. There's one side that's better than the other side.
It's not perfect, but it's adorable, and I think it's going to be yummy.
My green is in there, I promise. It's like one little line of green.
This is my first try. Not perfect. But I have two drinks because we're celebrating Pride. So I also have a straw because if not, I'm going to spill. But yeah, this is our drink, and I will show it to you on the screen. If you are professional, this is what your drink should look like. So that turns out I need a really tall glass that I don't own. I didn't know that was. I don't know if people own that in their home, but mine are not that tall. But cheers to Pride Month. Cheers.
Cheers to our wonderful drinks and experimenting and you guys doing it with us. It's been a lot of fun.
That's delicious.
And is it? Wait.
I'm like, who cares the colors? It's delicious. Ooh.
It is. It's really good. Yummy. So, and we promise we will find other things to do the drinks as well because it was lots of fun. We loved it.
So if you guys don't know, this is how you make the drink. Here's some info. We posted it on our Instagram. So if
we don't know either, if you guys don't know, because ours is amazing.
And if you didn't make it, it's too late to make it now. So I'm so sorry. But next time, get on our Instagram earlier.
So to be you.
Oh my goodness. But honestly, I'm really excited about today's show. I know we have a lot that we're going to be talking about. I think this is probably the most excited I've been for a show yet. And I'm really happy with our Pride drink and our Pride shirts. And I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. I will tell you, Pookie, don't freak out. Don't freak out. But there might be some surprises on today's show that you're not expecting. But that's just what we do sometimes. So don't freak out. Don't panic.
Wait. You made an executive decision without me. We don't like surprises. That's why you did it.
Because sometimes surprises are for you. You know what I mean? And so I want to let you guys know, if you're not already following us on TikTok, please do so. Links are on the Instagram. We're posting them everywhere. I'll make sure to post the links all on this YouTube video. So if I need to catch my breath, I'm like, woo! If you're not already following us everywhere, get to it. And I would love if you guys shared this video with a friend. So if you're watching live, send it to them right now. It's for them to join us. And if you're watching it back, send it to somebody because there's going to be some really good content. And I am clearly stalling if you haven't realized because we have a really exciting, very surprising, you're going to be shocked because we're celebrating all things LGBT today. So let's say hello to one of Pookie's favorite ever.
Hi.
Oh my God. I love you so much.
Hi.
Oh my
Greg, did I tell you she was going to freak out, Greg? Did I tell you?
You did warn me. I didn't believe you because I was like, I mean, it's just me, but
You're like, nobody's really that big of a fan. You're wrong.
You're a friend in my head, and now you're like really here. I love you so much. You're so amazing.
Oh, thank you, my love. I love you.
So if you guys don't know, this is Greg. Do I say Kata? Is that correct?
Kata, but nobody gets it right. Don't worry.
Kata and Find Your Joy. If you guys don't know about Find Your Joy, I absolutely love this man. Pookie, my best friend, showed me him. We quote you all the time. It's our favorite thing.
Really?
Yeah, like you can get coconuts and a ponytail. Like
yes. I mean, that is the joy of swap meets that I'm figuring out, is that there
Aren't
is
they
something
amazing
for everyone.
They're so crazy. I was walking with you, and I used to go to those when I was younger with my family, and it brought back so many memories. In Miami, they used to have them everywhere.
So I lived in Vegas for 15 years. I drove by that thing all the time, but I never saw cars in the parking lot. So in my mind, it was like an abandoned Kmart. So I just assumed that it didn't exist. But then a friend was like, "You've got to go to the swap meet while you're here." And I said, "Wait, like that indoor swap meet thing? That's actually a running place?" And she's like, "Yeah, you just got to go in." And so I don't really know what I thought I was expecting, but it was like small part, like Bangkok, like outdoor market meets like garage sale meets. I don't even know. I mean, like when I turned the corner and there was a snake man, that's when I knew I had to.
I gotta tell you. So the funny thing is, she started sending me your videos, and I think that a lot of us have the same thoughts in life. So I'm like, he's narrating what I would be saying in my head, like literally, like, like.
That's why it was so funny, because I was like, yeah, I would totally say and think everything that you did. It's so funny.
She sent me the video and I was like, I'm too busy right now. She goes, don't watch it till you're ready, because there's a lot of lines and you're like the new Mean Girls. So we're like, don't touch it, too late. Like, but our most favorite, which I shared with you when I wrote to you, our most favorite would be what made me become a fan, which was you convincing us that there's a reason why people actually like Lifetime movies.
Let me tell you, I need a mint farm. I want a mint farm. I watched that video over and over, and because I was like, it's so funny. And again, the way that you narrate it, it's literally like I'm watching it and I'm like, I think the same things, because I used to laugh at my mom for watching that. And then now I'm the one watching Hallmark, and you know.
No, my mother is just retired right after the pandemic started. I think she was like, all right, signs on the wall, I'm done. And then my aunt retired as well. So her sister, so like they bond over, like her DVR is just, and all year round is like Christmas movie after Christmas movie. And so when I was there, I watched one with her, but it was so insulting to all of my senses. Just like the overly whiteness of it all was just like, all right, that, you know, there's like the perkiness, the fake everything, the fake towns, the freaking lady. I want you
to understand, she's your mom and I'm you. I was like, it's terrible. I will never watch one. They're such a waste of time. And then she's like, but the mint farmer. And I'm like, shut up.
Oh, I mean, these very like sexually fluid men that are like,
they're also common, right? This is what most men look like.
Right, exactly. That also just have no like real life skill except like this odd like hobby that they have. Like there's a wood whittler, you know, like I make, you know, bird houses out of, you know, recycled plastic, you know, like all these like amazing like saving the world things are happening in these small towns outside of a coal mine in Pennsylvania, and you're just like, what? How have I not heard of this movement?
How have I not been there yet? That's right.
Well, listen, Greg, I want like maybe everybody watching, we'd be crazy to believe everybody watching is already following you. We want to just like people. I had a friend write me right now. She's like, I don't know who you guys are talking to. There was no intro. We got excited. So I just want you, I mean, listen, this person is hilarious. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I posted a video the other day and I said, if whatever you're watching on your lunch break is bringing you anything but joy, laughter, entertainment, or maybe just something thought-provoking. But if it's bringing you anything negative, turn it off. And I'm happy for channels like you that are bringing us laughter because we freaking need it, because the world is crazy and it's on its head. So if I wanted to go be depressed, I would go to CNN.com. Why people fill their TikToks and YouTubes and Facebooks and Instagram with more problems, stop it. So you have 2.4 million followers. That's insane. You know, there's people that have been on national television, like on RuPaul's Drag Race, for example, that don't have 1 million. So like, that's a huge deal.
I don't really think it doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't know what 2.4 million people, like I don't know what that number is. Like I don't.
And I'm just saying what I've always been saying to all my friends. Like, why is this so great?
Well, I mean, you know, I don't see those people ever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, it's
a lot
to me, but it's been fun and hilarious, and you know.
Well, I can see why your soul to me just comes through what you're doing, and I like that. Like we have like friends in our heads, you know. And the minute I saw you, I was like, I love him. Like there was something about you, just your spirit and the way you speak about your students, and you know, just the way that you project your energy, just so that you know, does make a difference, and the right people receive that. And I love you so much. And every time I get to, you literally just make me laugh and smile. And I love your energy, and I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I mean, part of it is just like me getting this stuff off my chest.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like free therapy in a sense. So, you know, if 2.4 million people want to chime in on my rant on exit row seating, then I am here for it.
Drivers.
Oh God. I mean, literally, why are we not recruiting for those positions? This is not a volunteer. No. You know, I've got lots of opinions on things. I've never been one to keep my mouth shut. So it's been, but like, I don't know. I feel like age has made me a little more mellow. I used to be a very, I would say like aggressive person. And, you know, over the years, especially now with like the world being in the upheaval that it is, I feel like as a world, as a people, we are losing empathy. And so, majority of my followers, like they come from all over, and they are from, and my just motto in life is like, there's room at the table, and we're gonna agree to disagree on some things, but like I also don't talk about things that are necessarily political or whatever, because it just made me a negative person.
Right.
It made me angry. I felt like my insides were, you know, and I do my part. I do my things on my own time. I do you know, I vote. I'm very, you know, I'm involved, but I don't like, I also take the ego out of it. Like someone was like, how do you feel about Roe versus Wade? And I was like, do you really think that the two, like y'all need to hear this gay white male's opinion on Roe versus Wade? I was like, here's what you need to know. I support women. So I am here for whomever wants to talk about it. But like, do you need my spew on it? Because you know what was so annoying about this? I'm tangenting this, like I'm digressing, but
go ahead.
The male videos that talked about Roe versus Wade on TikTok are getting more views than the women talking about it, and it's pissing me off. Like I'm so happy that they're allies and they're there for them, but I also am like, are you co-opting a movement and a moment that really isn't about you, but to be supportive, to gain like views and followers? And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to I will help anybody. I will whatever I need to do. And if you don't agree with it, like, again, you can still be at the table. But like, I just don't feel like everyone needs to hear my thoughts on everything. Yeah. They want to hear my thoughts on Target. They want to hear my thoughts on like the random interaction that I had today. They don't want to hear. And I don't think I want to talk about it. Like, you know, so I don't know. It's not because I'm afraid of losing followers or I'm afraid of whatever. I'm just
it just doesn't bring you joy or other people's joy. I actually believe that you're on that. Like when you say find your joy, your vibe is exactly what we talk about. Like even in this show, we wanted to create a talk show, and we'll like touch base on certain things. We're like, okay, let's keep it going, because we don't want to do that. Like we love, we love laughing, we love friendship, and we're like, we talk about everything. And then we got on the show and we almost felt like we should talk about those things. And I'm like, we didn't talk about those things before. Like we brought them up.
The
and
world
we
is heavy enough as it is.
Yeah.
You don't need to add heaviness just to feel relevant to what's going on, you know?
Well, right. And I think everything is optics and it's what you bring to things. Like I posted I had Pride merch that came out at the beginning of the month and I posted something on Instagram, but I posted it before, unfortunately, the timing of it was like hours before the school shooting in Texas. And like someone wrote me a message and was like, I love you, but this is really horrible timing and just doesn't seem right. And I said, okay, well, first of all, the timing of the post was pre this, but also like the world does not exist in a vacuum. And also like me not talking about, again, do you want, like, people wanted me to talk about it because I'm a teacher. And I was like, I responded to somebody about this because I said, oh, you mean, do you think that I don't think about like I only think about school shootings when they happen? You don't think as a teacher that like I live every day? So do you really want me to relive this even more now that it's a reality for other people? Like, you don't want, I know it makes sense in your mind that this is something I should talk about, but it actually is something that I don't want to talk about because I live this 9 months out of the year, every day. I live this idea of like, wow, you know, how do I get my kids out of the theater? You know, like, or what do we do? You know, like it crosses my mind on the daily, and it only gets exacerbated when something does tragic like that happen.
Well,
you know?
because it is your reality every single day. That's, you know, most people watch it. As you were saying earlier, unfortunately, we're living in a world where everybody's losing empathy. It's kind of like the norm, and everybody a few days and then they're done. They're moving on with their life. But that's your life every single day.
Right.
So they don't get to tell you that your reaction is not what they feel it should be.
Well, and one of my former students is like a superstar now and just got his master's at an amazing acting school in California. And so he's like writing all these shows, or sorry, she's writing all these shows. They're trans and they are just killing it. And they're pitching like a trans show that's like sort of like a trans Sex in the City. And the execs were like, this is just too boring. Like, where's the murder? And he was like, I'm sorry. I wanted to create an environment, like this is their reality on such a daily. Yeah. I wanted them to see a world like of them being themselves and having their regular day-to-day conversations that don't deal with fucking trauma. Like I went to a spoken word the other night and everyone was talking about like their like horrible gay trauma, which is very valid. But then I started going like, did I miss out that this was not my gay experience. Like I was not like beaten.
Don't you feel like sometimes you have the pressure to have some sort of heavy, big story when people are like, how was your coming out? You're like, I was okay. Like, I was okay. And I understand everyone's story and I agree it's valid, but like not everyone goes through that either, which is an okay part of the conversation.
Well, but also like everything's relative to the person in the moment that it's happening. Yeah. So yeah, in the moment, it was really difficult. It was the hardest thing I had to go through at 21 years old. But that was because my life up to that point had been, you know, pretty okay. I mean, yes, my parents divorced when I was 5. I was shoved into therapy at 8, unbeknownst and unwillingly. And, you know, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. And that was crazy. But like, in comparison to somebody that would get beat up every day, yeah, I guess my life was easy. But like, you know, I was sort of listening to all this trauma going like, all right. And maybe they haven't gotten there yet, or maybe it's just where I'm at. But I was just like, I am not a product of my trauma. I don't believe that I feel like I've dealt with it, but I also was like, I don't know, maybe there's a show for people that were like, I guess I didn't have it bad after all. Like, or, you know, like, I guess it was okay. Like, you know, I'm okay still. Like, it was just, I kept, you know, and the audience was like, you know, and also, I mean, I live in New Orleans, but I'm from Ohio. So like, there were a lot of Southern people here that I think were commiserating with this, like, very Southern Baptist upbringing and having that be a problem. And I was like, oh, right. Well, I guess I didn't deal with that. But like, I looked at my boyfriend and was just like, I guess I feel like a fraud right now. Like, am I gay? Like, is this what I am? Like, did I have this? Like, I did not have I am me in spite of my trauma, not necessarily because of my trauma. You know what I mean? And so
it's amazing. Listen, I want to tell you, I really can't thank you enough. I love to connect with new people. I love that we get to not just say you're a friend in our head, that we got to meet you.
Yes.
And listen, I would love to bring you back to have full conversations another time.
Let's solve the world's problems.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about what you should be buying at the swap meet. And
100%.
And when Christmas time comes, maybe we can do a review of a Lifetime movie.
Yes, as long as it's not something that I'm supposed to like promote. But anything is fair game, because I swear to God, we will.
I love you
and
so
even
much.
the gay ones, because they got into the gay game this year with that Netflix shit, and that was just as bad.
Terrible.
It was almost more offensive because I was like,
I hate it.
He hated it. He was so mad.
Do not put our
and you know what I hate most? All the girlfriends like, oh, did you see there's a gay? I hate it. I hate all of it. I hate all
that movie was for straight people to feel good about themselves.
We accepted
about
the gays.
Having a gay friend.
That's right.
That was not for gay people. I was like, no, they would be full on banging in the woods. Like none of this was a rom-com, like Julia Roberts style runaway bride bullshit with the gay guy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, listen,
no.
We love you. Happy Pride. Thank you for joining us, and I hope we can have you on again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
this.
Was like super exciting. I love the surprise. Keep doing what you're doing because we love you and we appreciate you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I appreciate your time.
You gotta tell them to find their joy.
Find your joy. Find your summer. That's my new goal. Find your
you
summer. You
are my joy, sir.
Find your joy in the summer because it's going to be gone before we know it. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. We
Anytime.
love you.
Love you.
Thank you.
And then, if you guys didn't realize, this is going to be the longest show we've ever done because I'm not done with surprises because we have our next surprise guest lined up.
Oh my God!
Hi, sugars.
Oh my God! I love you.
I love you.
No, you understand. You understand. So she freaked out about the last one. I'm going to freak out about this one. You don't understand. You don't understand how much you are literally my animal soul find. What do they call it? What's
spirit animal?
My spirit animal. Because,
spirit animal.
let me tell you, I followed you for a while. Guys, okay, let's do better than the last time. So introduce yourself. Your name is?
My name is Terry K.
and Terry K, do you do TikTok only or do you do it all?
I do TikTok and Instagram mostly. Because I've been pushed into that. It's not something I thought I would be doing, but yeah, I'm on both of those apps.
It seems to be that we're in a world that is now celebrating that we just get to say the things that we used to say on the phone to our friends, and we just record it in clips, and people like it.
That's the part. That's it.
But I'm going to tell you,
Authentic.
I've been following you for a while. I adore you. I love
Thank you.
The moment where we became besties in my head was when you did the video where you wanted to get reviewed on the letter that you had written that was inappropriate, and you said, but it wasn't even the words you said. It was the facial expression of the joy you got from hearing your own words. You were like, you're like, That's it. You were like,
what's the problem?
And
then you finish and you go, I said that.
I wrote that. That was a true story. That was very true.
You don't understand.
That was true.
You don't understand. That is who I am. I have to, hold on to my composure because, I have the rent is too high, right? But I shared it with all of my coworkers.
Thank you.
Now, all the time that I get crazy with people, I'm like, I said it. Mm-hmm.
And I meant it. It's almost like they want you to take it back. Like, do you want me to lie to you and say I didn't mean it? I mean everything I said when I said it, how I said it.
I thought about how I was going to write it before I wrote it, and then I wrote it. So
that you would hear it.
I love you. I love you. I love your energy. There's something so soothing about your voice.
Thank you.
Just listening to you, like the way you say things, so matter of factly and still sassy and still I'm owning it. And I love everything about you. You make
Thank
me
you.
smile every time.
I'm an easy crier, so don't make me cry. That's why I don't do
We'll cry together.
Because I'm the biggest crier. It don't take much to make me cry. So thank you so much.
Love
it's so
you.
sweet.
We love you. I'm
gonna send you an episode that we did a few weeks back. I cried the entire episode. Like,
okay, well, I don't feel so bad.
The whole episode. I was like,
I was kind of like, get it together.
And I was like, started crying again.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I'm truly thankful and grateful.
I do. I love you. I love your one of the newest ones that you did about the ticket.
I never thought that one would take off because I thought it was such common knowledge, but obviously it was not. Some people were like, "Oh, is that true?" Girl, yeah, it is.
Listen,
don't get over here in my lane.
In Miami, I swear that needs to be like your video needs to be played on every turnpike, on every expressway, because you were saying it, and I was like, "Oh yes, oh my god." Yes, we got ticket money. Move.
I got ticket money. That's why I'm speeding. Now, I would deal with the consequences if I get pulled over, but don't you be over here pity-patting, holding me up, because I got somewhere to be.
I think I'm guilty of it because I've definitely had the flashlights behind me doing this, and I'm like, oh, I'm not driving like ticket money. Hold on.
You're going to have to get to the middle or to that far right, friend. You're going to have to scoot over.
You're going to get me all the way together. I hear it. I know.
Move on that right lane. That's just for you. Ain't nobody want to be there.
Nobody want to be over there. Get over there in your family.
But I feel like the left lane's too fast and the right lane's too slow, and you don't always have a middle lane. So,
figure it out. Move.
I thrive in that left lane. Nobody keeps up with me over there. They don't keep up. They can't keep up.
Tell me where are you living? Where are you from?
Yeah,
I'm from Carthage, Mississippi, a small town in Mississippi, and I'm right now living in Texas.
Okay, all the southern.
All southern. I'm trying to keep it together so y'all can understand what I'm saying. Because
we understand all of it. We're more southern than you realize.
Okay, good.
Which is probably why we love you so much. There's like this unspoken understanding that you're
like
just
between us all.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I vibe with that.
Where does this come from? Is it mom? Is it grandma? I mean, I know it's born in you, but like, where does it come from?
I feel like it's mom, and you'll see a video I'm going to be posting with my aunts and my mom, and my grandmother. She's no longer here. She passed last year, but all of those ladies shaped me to be who I am. And unapologetically, I think a lot of people feel like, oh, I have to make other people happy, or I got to explain myself why I am the way I am. And you don't owe anybody anything but you. And if they don't understand you, you don't owe them an explanation. It's for them to figure out. And I just feel like the moment we start trying to make people understand who we are, you're wasting time. You're wasting time when you could be out there being you.
Do you know how enlightened, and aside from the comedy, because you're funny and you know that's a natural gift, and I think a lot of times we have it as almost a defense mechanism too. That's how we get through things. But do you know how enlightened and how just when you get into the non-comedy stuff, how deeply it really in 30 seconds can boom to something? Do you know that?
I to be honest with you, when I first started doing the videos, my friends made me get on TikTok like a year and a half ago. I was not doing social media, and they're just like, you don't know how much you would help people. And I was like, okay, I'll get on there. I was on TikTok a whole year before I even posted a video. And I posted a video, and it kind of shocked me, the responses that I'm getting. I'm like, well, this is like stuff that I've been through that I can speak on. And to be honest with you, the sad part about it is I think a lot of things that I speak on is because I've been through it.
That's it.
And I think it's because I truly know that people can get through it. And I'm giving them some tips and tricks on how to get through it, because Lord knows we're in a time to where you need all of the help. I need the cheat sheet, because if I got to go through this alone, I'm going to fail over and over and over again. So let me give you the cheat sheet. And I feel like that's what I've been able to do, sadly, because I've been through so much, but because, I'm better. And I know that if I got through it, hopefully somebody else can too.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, it does reach people, and you do have that energy about you that you make people want to listen. Just your presence. I'm looking at you right now, and it's like there's this magnetic drawn to you. And
you're so sweet.
It's something that is unexplainable, and it's the reason why you are so special, and you are who you are.
And you can sing.
I just started recently singing on the app.
That's how I think I sound. I don't.
No.
Let me tell you a quick story before you go. So I love worship music. It's my favorite thing. Aside from Broadway, it is my favorite music on earth. And this is my best friend of my whole life. And she always just cackles because we go to church and I will sing as if I'm supposed to be on the stage. Like, I don't care what row I'm in. Y'all, she's like, God is right here. Like, he can hear you. And I'm like, I'm a sing, even though I can't. And she's like, child, I feel so bad for the person in front of you.
They'll be all right. This is my moment.
They'll be all right. He said sing and worship no matter what you sound like.
I'm like, no, but I was like, see, what Jesus meant about someone that seems like you is do it in the shower, do it in your home, do it in your heart.
Yeah, do it in your head.
I know it, but I'm not exactly.
Don't do it next to me.
When I tell you I perform,
I'm like, shut up.
I love it.
Yeah, I perform. My husband be in the kitchen. He's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Hey, you stay in the kitchen. You stay in the kitchen, sir. You stay in the kitchen."
I love it.
If it's not music school, it's not your right to critique me. Like,
right, let me have this moment because you never know where this moment is gonna take me.
I didn't pay you for lessons. I didn't ask you for opinions. So
I'm gonna give it to you anyway because I walk out of there needing like a hearing aid or something to help me out.
Oh my God. But I want to tell you this, and I'll let you go because we packed a whole long show, and then I invited all these guests. You're gonna be like, "What'd you do?" But this is what we do.
It's okay, I love them.
So I'm gonna tell you right now. I know that you're probably not sitting there looking at your followers and how many I got because I know that's not what you're doing. You're just filming you. But I need you to hear that you're about to hit 1 million followers, and there are people. I said the same thing to the last gentleman. There are people who have been on national television, international television. They don't got 500,000. And so sometimes we think you have to have the exposure to have people want to follow you. I believe that your talent exceeds your exposure and where you are called to be and who you are called to impact, you may never know. And so I was so, I always say I get to borderline stalker mode. Either people will become my besties or they will block me. So I'm so glad you came on our show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Because if I love you, I will track you down.
Be able to do it, but I was like, Lord, please, because I had so much stuff going on, but I was like, I hope that I get to do this. And I'm so glad I was able to. So it means so much that you even wanted me here. And I appreciate you both so much.
I love what you do. I love who you are. I hope we get to do more of this. I really enjoyed it.
Let's schedule some stuff. I'm free. Let me know when.
and it wouldn't be right if you didn't say goodbye to us in the only way that we love to hear it.
Yes.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep shining, y'all. I love you.
We'll talk soon. Bye.
Will do.
How amazing was that? Is that it?
I have no idea how long I have been working on.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it. Because we got to do. Guys, listen, if you're watching, it is what it is. It's going to be a long show tonight. We celebrating the end of Pride. I'm almost done with my first drink because, but that was amazing.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for making that happen. I love both of these artists, performers, entertainers,
social media TikTokers. We
will post
the links.
Guys, if you do not know who they are, we will definitely link them. You have to watch them. They're both so amazing in their very individual, different ways. And they really are such lights. So thank you so much for bringing them. I think they are the perfect guests to end this Pride Month. And I love you. That was so cool.
I'm so excited. I can't tell you when all the life that I have been critiqued for being a stalker finally paid off to give you something. I'm excited. I really, 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 really wanted this to happen. And I worked to make it so. I love some of the comments, guys. I'm so sorry I didn't click through them, but there was a lot going on. I love that Anna said he about to have 1,000,001. I love it.
He's awesome. You're going to love him so much.
Sticking with us. We've got a lot of show planned. I'm going to speed through a little bit of it that we don't need to harp on. But I do want to let you guys know, if you've not seen this movie, we are doing speed round of some of our segments today. So on What You're Watching, if you have not seen Love, Simon, please do me a favor and watch it, especially if you're part of the LGBT community. I think it is one of the most special movies that I've ever seen because I got to see myself on screen. A lot of times I feel like LGBT personas are what we get, and comedic, and Will and Grace or drag queens, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love it all. But in this movie, it's a very real version of something that I really see myself in. And this scene specifically, when he's talking to his mom after coming out, and she says, "You get to exhale now, Simon. You deserve everything you want." I take those words very seriously. And I watched it the other day with Rodrigo, my husband, and he said, "That's only in movies, right?" And that was his opinion on it. He's like, "There's not moms that respond that way." And I said, "I think there is. I think there is. And I will stay believing there is. And I'm happy there's a movie that shows it, because I believe it'll save somebody's life. Because if somebody's at home and they feel like there's no hope out there, they could turn on Disney Plus now, and there's a whole Pride section. And I'm so happy it exists. And I just wanted to celebrate it very quickly."
That's awesome. There absolutely are parents that exist that way.
Absolutely.
And I think it is wonderful to be able to see yourself in a way that you haven't maybe necessarily felt the representation. And just like you, there are millions of other people that want to feel that. So
Yeah.
Love the movie. It is a very good movie.
It's really, really good. And so moving on through our speed round of things, we do have a just quick segment on all things celebrity. So we do want to bring up that there was some celebrity news regarding Miss Jennifer Lopez again. We're becoming a J-Lo fan show, which
I know we're going to have to do a Kelly segment and a J-Lo segment.
So go ahead and share what's going on with J-Lo.
Yeah, so we've been obviously following J-Lo and her coconuts, their whole life and this and that. And, you and I have said this for many, many, many years, where there was something about her daughter, M, that we were like, okay, let's watch her. Let's kind of see where this goes. As you can see here, a few pictures of her. She's always been super funky. She's always been very into fashion. And just the way that she carries herself, right?
Yeah.
We were always kind of very intrigued by what she would decide her future to be. Well, they recently had a performance, and we have a little clip of kind of a confirmation of something that we've always suspected. And Jennifer Lopez kind of put that stamp of confirmation for us. And here it is.
Together is in a big stadium like this.
Before Emmy joined J-Lo, the 52-year-old introduced them using they/them pronouns, showing the world just how much she respects Emmy.
And I asked them to sing with me all the time, but they won't. So this is a very special occasion. They're very, very busy and booked and pricey, costly when they come out. But they're worth every single penny, because they're my favorite duet partner of all time. So if you would indulge me.
And that we did. When Emmy appears on stage, they stand proudly, holding a bedazzled rainbow microphone, dressed in a fuchsia shirt and matching short set and black Dodgers baseball cap.
So we got our confirmation that Emmy is referred to as they, them. And I think the way it was done was so beautiful. I love her little comedy commentary. They're very booked and they're very expensive. I loved it. I thought it was so well done, and it wasn't made to be a big deal or a commotion. It was just, this is where we are, and we're sharing it with you, and that's it. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, I think it was very beautifully executed. It was done in a way that was, like you said, a little bit of humor brought into it. At the end of the day, she's a mom. And, I think she spoke from the heart, and she made it super easy breezy. This is where we are. This is what it is. And I think it came out beautifully. And I think that, they sung beautifully together, and it was and the song that she, announced they're coming out to was just such a beautiful song. It just kind of made it, as a mom, I was like, oh my God. So yeah.
Good job. Good job. Happy Pride Month again and again and again. And if you guys are watching, please comment with us, talk with us. I love it. I'm seeing lots of new followers jumping in. I love it. And so I want you guys to brace yourselves, because we're about to go on a little bit of a ride here. And I want you to understand something before I start. I said it before, and I just want to make sure to make this kind of disclosure again. This is a safe space. there are times where we're going to have conversations where maybe certain things we say aren't perfectly worded, perfectly expressed, but this room, this chat room, this show is full of love, and nobody here has any judgment on anybody or means any harm. With that said, we're also going to have a little bit of conversation today that may trigger people in a certain way. If you have LGBT trauma, if you have coming out issues, if you've had issues with your family. So we just want to be respectful to that. And if that's something that you don't want to kind of visit right now, that's okay. We would love to invite you to hear the conversation because you may gain and learn something from it, but we do want to be respectful of that. So on today's segment of What's on Your Mind, we're talking all things LGBT because it is the end of our Pride Month celebration, and that's why we're all rainbowed out. And it would only make sense to have the right kind of conversation, not just brush over something. We've talked about a lot of topics for the last month, but we wanted to dive a little deeper, and that's what we're going to do.
Yes. Safe space. I love it. So, yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with everything that you've just said. I want to also make a point. I am a woman, and above that, just making sure everyone knew, above being a woman and having my thoughts as a woman, what is always going to trump that is the fact that I am a mother.
A mother
So
first.
Every ounce of my being thinks as a mother before as a woman, as a human, as the first thought is always mom thought.
Yeah.
So because of that, I wanted to bring up some questions that as a mother, I feel that are so important. And I feel like sometimes it's not expressed in the right way, or we don't know how to ask the right questions, or we are not understood because the reactions maybe come out in a way where, you know, people can assume that we're thinking something that we're not, or that we feel or believe something that we don't. So with that being said, I wanted to make sure that that is present foremost in everyone's mind, because I have a series of questions that we're going to be reviewing, and you're going to help me understand certain things, and vice versa. Maybe I can help you understand certain perspectives as well that I think are very, very important and that don't get spoken about enough.
And I think we have to understand that I say, like, you're wearing different glasses. Like, I'm inside the LGBT community. So there's certain sensitivities that I may have, or emotional reactions or attachments to certain things that if you're not inside the LGBT community, you maybe don't have that. And I get confused, like, why don't you have that? And I have to lower that, because if you haven't gone through that, then that's not your experience. So let's dive in.
Okay, perfectly. So my first question, do you believe the overflow of information and overexposure in our world at the moment is confusing our youth in regards to their sexuality? Is it possible that popularity of the culture is causing it to be viewed as a trend? It's fun, it's cool, it's popular now. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So being very honest, when I heard that word trend used in a conversation in regards to sexuality, I almost was offended. I felt like, no, it's not a trend. It's not something you choose to do. I believe, my belief is you're born the way you are, including your sexuality. It took a little bit of peeling back layers and understanding what this was really about. And this is where I come to with this. I don't believe most people who have expressed or come out that they are in some way, shape, or form part of the community, that they are confused. I don't think so. But where this question, I think, is really stemming from is, like, when I grew up, we didn't talk about being gay. It wasn't popular. It wasn't celebrated. The only times, for example, in pop culture that I saw gay figures, it was to laugh at them. And it was, and not in a negative way. I'm not talking about that, but like I mentioned earlier, Will and Grace, right? So Jack's character was extremely flamboyant and very funny. It's hilarious. But that's all it was for. It was comedic relief. And I'm so sorry about the cough. We didn't see people celebrated just for being, and there was nothing else besides just like characters, not real people. And now we have, a world of YouTube and TikTok, and there's things like you go to makeup stores and there's faces on posters in there of, men or trans people wearing a ton of makeup, and they're the cool kids. And RuPaul's Drag Race used to be this little show on a little niche channel of Logo, and then it went to VH1, and now it's MTV and Paramount Plus. It's international, and they are, by all intents and purposes, considered famous. And so it's normal as a kid, and when I say kid, I mean even like high schoolers, right? To want to be part of the cool kids. That's what you want. We want to be the homecoming queen, and you want to be all those things. Those things before were the ones that were bullied, and now everybody loves the gay bestie. And like we talked earlier today, we have movies on Netflix about how wonderful it is to be gay, and it's so fun, and it's woo, and it's all the pizzazz and the fun. And I do think that there can be parts in our psyche that are not fully developed, or maybe we're still figuring out who we are, and that's okay too. But along that journey, while you're unsure, because I don't like the word confused, but unsure of, or haven't fully decided what you have, then you see the cool kids and you're like, maybe I'm that. And you start to associate by what you desire as far as status and reputation and acceptance, more than really truly understanding about who you are within, versus before we were quiet in our room and we were talking to ourselves, trying to figure it out. So yes, I think there's a lot of outside influences, and where exposure, like a movie like Love, Simon, I find it positive because it's like so beautiful to think that I can turn on the TV and see myself. It can be dangerous. Overexposure, and the younger they are, the worse exposure is, because we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have Google. So we just had us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's read that comment.
Yes, 100%. I feel like there is a really big issue among the youth, meaning there are kids who are struggling with their true selves and trying to find themselves. Yeah. And the ones who are unfortunately following what they see. So as a parent, I do believe that we have a responsibility to make sure that the exposure that our children are receiving is age appropriate and things that they can understand, that kind of go with the level of where they're at. Sure. Because just as I would not let my 10-year-old watch a rated R movie, and just like they tell you in the movie theater, like anyone under 13 needs parental guidance. Like there's things that I feel that parents need to do a little bit better at, just to make sure that they're monitoring what their children are watching, what they're understanding, what they're receiving, only because it is confusing enough without the exterior noise.
Correct.
And when you have this exterior noise and you have all this information coming at you and there's nothing wrong with it, and you're looking at it like everything is okay. We're living in a world where we're trying to, extend the acceptance and understand that the equality, and there's so many things that we're fighting to normalize, where if they're not at the capacity to understand what they're receiving, it's just going to confuse them more. And it may make their journey, whatever it is, a little bit harder than it should be.
Yeah.
So that was my first take and thought on that.
Yeah.
So my second question, since it is more accepted and exposed, do you think the youth is more inclined to explore their sexuality? Like a little bit more than what it would have been before.
Yeah, I think that, again, exposure is one layer, and acceptance is also another, right? So do I think it's possible? Yeah, I do. Because, again, when you don't know something, then I don't, how do I say this? Because I get like stuck with these words, because I feel it's very important to not hurt anybody's feelings and not say anything that's going to hurt somebody. But I want you guys to understand, kids aren't born wanting to have sex, right? That comes with hormones. It comes with age. and it comes with a certain level of things. And there's, again, a time, there's a place for everything. So I do think it's not good to expose, especially when we say our youth. Some people are talking about high schoolers, some people are talking about middle schoolers, some people are talking about before that. You know, the younger they are, the more dangerous I think it is, because you don't know how to process, you don't know how to, what does this mean, right? Because everything we look at, we see, we read, we're associating meaning to those things. And you can't unsee or unlearn something you learned or saw. And so you do need to be careful with that. And again, I just think about the fact that, you know, I work in a customer facing environment, and I don't see a kid these days that doesn't come in. And if they're not already holding a tablet or a phone, the parents come to talk to me and they throw the phone at the kid. You can do your best as a parent, but in that moment, they may see something they weren't supposed to see, because you're just trying to do what you need to do as a parent. And I understand it's impossible to figure it out, but you throw the phone at them. You don't know what they open, what YouTube page they go to. You're going to find out. You'll be like, hey, I told you not to look at that. They already saw it. And
it's a scary world that we live
hard.
in. And technology is like a double-edged sword, which we've talked about many times. But I do believe it kind of ties into the previous statement, where it's a little bit about, let's make sure that we are monitoring as best as we can and let me be clear. What I mean is, we are protecting our children from further pain, from hurt, from getting involved in something that they don't even understand themselves, at the age where we feel like we should still be protecting them and watching over them and, you know, taking care of them. This is not, you know, watch them and make sure that they never see anything that's, you know, LGBT related, or that they don't know anything about, you know, the community. That's not what I mean. I just mean they need to be monitored, and they need to, what they're receiving has to match their level of understanding
and being able to process.
Correct. Because otherwise we're doing a disservice to them. We wouldn't put a kindergartner in a 5th grade classroom, because they wouldn't understand. So I feel like everything kind of goes together to what they know and what they, you know, need to know at the moment. And kids will let you know where they're at. They're so smart, and they'll start asking questions, and you'll realize where they're at and what you need to say at that moment. I'll never forget. I think Joey was about 5, and he said something about sex. I was driving. I was always driving with the kids, and they were back there, and he said something about sex, and I was like, huh? And I'm like, oh my God. I have like 100 things going through my mind. And for whatever reason, at a very young age, thank God I was equipped with some sort of common sense wisdom for these situations, which are not easy. I'm not judging anybody that doesn't have them, because I swear to God, I was like, and I stopped, and I was like, okay. I was like, what is sex? Because I thought, before freaking out, let me see what the heck he's talking about, because I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. And
he was like, oh my God, she wants me to say something about sex, you know. And it was the funniest thing, because his face, he looked like, oh, I'm gonna say something bad. And I'll never forget, I literally pulled over from wherever I was, and he took a seatbelt off, and he was like sitting in the middle console thing. And he goes, it's when big people give besitos in their panties. And that innocence.
You were like, yep.
I was like, yep, Papa, it sure is. Put your seatbelt on. We got to keep driving. So what I mean by that, guys, is that kids are kids. And sometimes they say things and we're like 1,000 miles an hour and it's not there yet. You're still good. You still have a little bit of time. So all of that to say is that let's let them kind of, you know, don't freak out and see where they're at first. Yeah. Anyway, so just a funny story I had completely forgotten about, and talking about this, I remembered, and it was hilarious. And I was very happy at that time that that's what he thought sex was. Yeah. I was like, all right. So with that being said, kind of ties into what we just talked about. I believe as a parent that not every single stage deserves immediate reactions, which is what I literally just talked about. I believe in allowing the child to just be and not sway them one way or another. It's so funny. It literally is what I just said in that story, where you just kind of like let them Let them be, see where they're at. Because if I would have taken that opportunity to open up a whole other conversation where his little mind wasn't even there yet,
Yeah.
I would have created further confusion for this child that had it figured out in his mind. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I also wanted to bring up, and I'm trying to figure out where I can bring this up because it kind of goes hand in hand with everything that I'm talking about as a parent. I want to say like a month and a half or 2 months ago, I was watching The View, which I don't watch often. I'm sorry, but they stress me out. It's just become very political. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. But sometimes it's in the background. I'm watching the news or whatever, and they're on.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a guest speaker, and I don't know who it is. I will do my research, and I will make sure that we put it, somewhere, because if I'm going to say something about somebody, I want to be able to put the information up. She was talking about her daughter coming out to her. And she made a comment that I just was very frustrated with. She said very comical, like just matter-of-factly, that her daughter came out to her and it was no big deal and it should never be a big deal. And her response was, oh my God, that's so cool. I wish I was gay too.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what?
Why? What that overly eagerly acceptance just bothered the crap out of me, because people look at that and it's like, oh, how awesome. She is backing up her daughter 100%. And I don't believe that to be my way of backing up any family member that comes to me with anything like that. And I don't believe my way to be wrong. And I don't believe my way to be less supportive and less loving. And when you have that kind of mentality floating around in the community and in our youth and in our kids, it almost makes anything that's not that unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's insulting because my belief is like, being LGBT plus any part of our community, it's who you are. It's not something to do. It's not a club to join. It's not like, yeah, I want to do that too. It's not a fun thing. It's not comical. It's who we are. It's bottom line who we are. And if someone disagrees with that mentality, in my humble opinion, they haven't been in front of enough gay people, LGBT people in their life, okay? Because there was no questioning who I was my whole life. Yeah, I didn't know how to label it as a kid, but I always knew that I wasn't like the rest of the boys. I always knew I was different, and I never felt this need of, or this understood this idea of this forceful acceptance either. And so I do like the point you're making about how there are different ways to support our children. Now, I don't agree with her way at all. Like, I don't agree. Yeah, which I was gay. Like, what? I don't know what that is.
I rewinded it. I was like, no, wait, I didn't hear that right. Because I was like,
she could have just said, I love my child no matter what, and I'm really happy that she's comfortable telling me, period. Let your daughter have her journey and don't take from her story. It's
not about you.
It's not about you. And that's it's not about you.
It's not about you. What do you mean I wish I were gay too? Like, that's not sure.
But I do think within that conversation, I wanted to bring up a point that when I was 18, 19, 20, I had a lot of pressure given to me about making sure, and specifically my grandma, because I was very close to my abuela, Cuban background, but I was extremely close to her. She's my favorite human being. She will never be replaced. She's no longer with us, but I was pressured to make sure. I was literally told she has to accept you. And I was like, I was at her house yesterday. She didn't kick me out. I think that means she accepted me. That's how I saw it. I was like, she accepted me because she knows who I am. And she is hugging me and loving me and genuinely.
She adored you.
She
adored you.
I felt like she was my best friend. I'm like, did she say something I don't know about? Like, yeah. So it confused me as to what was this. And my pushback was this. If I was going to be getting married and I had met the love of my life and I wanted her to be a part of it, that probably would have led to a very different conversation between us. But if I was a straight man and I was in college and I was having sex with a woman, I would not have gone home to tell my grandma about it. So why, because I was a gay man, I had to go tell her who my preference to have sex with? What? I don't understand the pressure and that pressure of, no, she has to accept you. I have lived with pressure like that about everything. Like, I have belonged to a certain church for over a decade. I got baptized at that church. I love that church family. And I was told, no, you can't go there because they don't accept gays. I'm like, I'm there every week. Yeah, but they don't accept you. I'm like, says who? Oh, but did you tell them you were gay? I'm like, well, I didn't necessarily walk in with a stamp on my forehead, but I didn't tell them I wasn't. I didn't hide it. I didn't lie about who I was. And so they weren't preaching against gay people. So I was like, why is it they don't accept us? And that's what you're talking about. If you don't scream it out, we accept you, then we don't accept you. And that's not necessarily true. Just because you're not screaming acceptance doesn't mean that you're against it. And it is a dangerous conversation when it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
And
what sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
What I fear the most as a parent that's watching the youth coming in behind us and generations behind us, that is what they're getting taught across. That's what they're seeing come across. That if you're not accepted this specific way that is being taught to you, that's how you need to be accepted, then it's not valid and it's not
enough. It's not enough acceptance. I need it more. I need a different version of it. And then that breeds anger and aggression and problematic interactions with other people.
That's key, because it's not a matter of like, and again, we're not talking about the people that don't accept, right? This is a space of love. This isn't accepting that. We're talking about the people that love you, that support you, that care about you, right? So
correct.
This child, this youth, this person is now believing that acceptance isn't the correct way of acceptance. It's not the level that they feel or they've been taught that it should be.
Sure.
And then their healing process is getting messed with. Their healing, their heart, their story is getting jeopardized because they're believing a fake narrative that they're not getting accepted because it's not the way that they've been told they have to. Therefore, they're suffering more than they should.
And the reason I wanted to bring this up is in no way to judge anybody's level of acceptance, but it's actually for me as somebody, as a gay man, to talk to people who are possibly hearing this and say, if your parents are not throwing you out, if your parents are loving you and hugging you and taking care of you, they accept you. Even if they don't fully understand it, even if they don't like something, even if they don't agree with it, if they are still taking care of you, they accept you. Stop letting people believe that if they are not standing at the front of a parade float, that equals unacceptance, because it's not the same thing. And I will tell you, this is also a very personal statement. Most people that I know came out when they were 18. Most people I know, somewhere between 18 to 20, around there. Because usually when you go to college, you live on your own, you feel more able. That's how I thought about it. I was like, well, when I leave the house and I have my own apartment, then I can't get kicked out, because that was a scary thought for me. But I knew that I was gay well before that. And one of the things that I think as a gay man and anybody in the bubble, we need to have grace over is I had come to accept that 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I tell somebody this today, they didn't know, and I'm confused as to why they're taking time to process it. Where is the understanding? Like, they just found this out. Like, you just told them this. You've been okay with this for 5 years, let's say. But you just told your mom or your sister or your cousin, and you literally just shifted who they saw you as. And that's not their fault. And it's nobody's fault, but you're the one that did that. Because you didn't tell them when you were 13. You told them when you were 20. Yeah. So 7 years ago, you're like, this is old news. But you told them 20 minutes ago, and because they didn't jump and celebrate and say, I wish I was gay, you're like, they don't love me. And that's
if I have that lady in front of me.
That's not the case. So we have to do better at having grace over people's processing time and allowing them to have understanding and knowing that it can take time. I absolutely agree with this comment. It is all about love and respect, because that's key. Because you can't say you love me and then disrespect me. They do go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So
and you can't say, you have to love me this way. You know what I mean? And you have to love me showing me right now. Like you have to have grace. So with that being said, this is another we're going to go into another really, really delicate and important subject. Again, disclaimer, this is asked with love. It's asked for understanding of your perspective, which again, is just your opinion. It's just two opinions out of the entire world. So if you don't agree, we understand that. Nothing but love. There's nothing, this isn't to change anybody's mind or whatever. So moving on. Would you agree that it's okay not to have a child's sexual orientation or gender identity be urgently defined until the child becomes old enough to know who they are for certain?
I think that what we mentioned earlier about this not being about the parent is a big part of this. I think it's about you letting your kid tell you who they are, and you're navigating through this with them. You're loving on them through it, and you're learning through it with them if this is your first exposure to it. You don't have to have all the answers, and I don't believe we need to have everything be boxed and labeled immediately, or it's, again, problematic or unaccepting. We have to allow time. We have to allow time because it is not the same for everyone. And I do believe 100% every person's journey is different. You could have a younger child than what I'm used to telling you very clearly who they are. And that child, that resonates with you and you believe them and you see that's fine. But just because somebody says something doesn't mean that's solidified because they said it today at 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, So I kind of think about it like, and I know this is a very kind of stretch or reach as far as the comparison, but I think it makes sense. It's like if your child told you, I'm going to be a doctor, and then now there is no room for that to ever change, evolve, grow, or move past that. You said you said you were a doctor. But I said that at 6, Mom. I said that at 10. No, but you said you were a doctor. So there's no, I labeled you doctor. Now you have to be so it comes from a place of like, we do evolve through time. Now, I do believe that you are born the way you are, but I don't believe that everybody knows, accepts, or fully understands who they are at the same point in the cycle. So it's kind of like I had a friend that her child was 3 years old and hadn't spoken a word yet. And everybody was panicking because the kids are supposed to talk earlier than that. And I said to her, says who? Every person is different. And they're, oh, no, he must have a problem. There must be a problem. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. I'm like, I'm not saying I know better, but not necessarily. And fast forward a year and a half, the child doesn't shut up. And that's proof that just because your friend's child was fully developed and speaking at 2 or 2.5, that's not your child's journey. So the comparison to somebody else's journey, the statistics of when is the right moment, they don't apply to every person. It's not a blanket statement.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. I also feel very strongly that children go through stages. Again, as a parent, I'm looking at this with the glasses of your kids go through temper, the terrible twos, and they go through, the needy phase, and they go through the messy phase, and they go through the, I don't want to sleep with my lights off phase. There's all these stages and phases that your kids go through. Yeah. As someone that is a gay man, that's always known as a gay man, you are very well aware that your situation was never a phase.
Right.
As a parent, you have to be able to allow that growth in your child, right? Sure. And you have to have the patience, you have to have the grace to let the child explore what they're going to be without putting that label that you're talking about, only because if it's not a phase, great, it's not a phase. It's who they are, and they knew who they were from whatever age, and you supported it. You didn't shut it down. You didn't, tell them to be quiet.
I think that's key, because most people I speak with did not feel safe in their home to just be. And that's a very big thing that I would love to see and hear more of is, it can change. It can, but not making it the bad list, right?
And but remember, something very important. Generations are changing.
Hmm.
So people
Of
in
course,
our
yes.
age group absolutely had much harder time. If you were Hispanic, Latino,
Yep.
African American, there's
Yeah.
you know, very distinct situations and
Yeah.
heritages and backgrounds and homes that absolutely it was like, oh hell no, I'm not I cannot.
Right.
I do believe that our grandkids are going to have a completely different life
Of
than
course.
what we had.
Of course, because our kids' generation, they're already in a whole
They're
different
already
so they're going to raise theirs a whole. So you're right on that. Of course.
Yeah. So I do feel that the world is evolving and it's changing, and there's going to be conversations that we're having now that are going to be like in history books, you know, like this is not even a thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by what I'm saying is, for example, I also very personally believe when you're dealing with a transgender person, that experience is very different than when you're speaking of someone that's, you know, gay, bisexual, you know, any of those topics. It's a really, like, transgender is something that for me, it's absolutely life-changing experience, and it affects in such a different way.
Yeah.
What does it say? Whether it's only at the time or it's a long-term thing, you have to support and respect your child's decision. Yeah, absolutely. Whether or not it's something that's happening right now or later, it's your child and you're going to love them if you're a good parent. Everything does have its time and its place, and everything evolves to where it needs to evolve. You know, everything has its that timeline that's so beautiful of life, you know?
Yeah.
So back to what I was saying,
Yeah.
I do believe, you know, the transitioning with a transgender, with the hormones, the surgeries, it's definitely a more permanent change.
Of course, being a transgender person comes with a whole nother layer of a conversation, because as a transgender man or female, you are talking about things that do affect your physical and your hormonal body. And some of those things you cannot ever take back, meaning hormone replacement therapy, surgeries that are done. And even though you can change the hormones, it can create hormone imbalances. Depending on what age it is, it can change your growth pattern with your natural hormones or the hormones you were born with. So I absolutely think that, you know, yeah, it's a whole nother layer, because if I said to you as a young person, oh, I'm gay. Okay, well, guess what? I'm 11. I'm not having sex with anyone, right? But now I tell you I'm transgender, and you heard about people taking hormones to change their gender, and you're ready to do that right now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how difficult that would be for a parent to navigate, to understand what is the right thing to do and what is not. And how do I love but not, you know, rush into this? How do I make sure that they're fully sure of it? It has to be impossible. I don't have the quote, but in an episode of Grey's Anatomy recently, there was a very nice dialogue about this exact conversation where the psychologist said something to the effect of, the kid needed to be saying it like repeatedly. It was an issue. It wasn't like just a comment. And it kind of makes me think about your kid saying, I know what sex is, right? It's like, if the kid says, I'm transgender, and you run and change their gender, like you change their clothing and you change their hair and you change their look, we don't necessarily have to be that reactive. And again, being okay, having the conversation, loving on your child no matter what, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to run to the clothing store, because we have to talk through this. And we have to talk through this over time. It's not an immediacy.
Correct. And that's difficult. Yeah. That's such an important thing. And that's like ties into the next question. It's like, I don't want to be seen to the world, to the community, as a non-supportive parent, just because I feel like we don't need to rush into the situation. And it's not about secretly hoping that my child is going to change their mind. That's not what it's about. And I do believe that there's a stigma that's out there that it's like, if you're not reactive, then you're not accepting. And that's what
you're restricting, you're holding them back. You're not letting them be who they want to be. And you're like, I'm not stopping anything. I just didn't know.
It's just exactly. It's like, I wouldn't let my 10-year-old drive my car right now. And I feel like there has to be, again, the grace that we were talking about, the understanding, the respect, the love. Like, just because you're choosing to support your child in a different way doesn't mean that you're not supportive. Yeah. So it is important to me, not only
I think it's a very layered conversation. Again, I think every person's journey and it's completely different for each person. I would really, really, really love to invite some of my transgender friends onto our show at some point to have more of an open dialogue and talk about their experience. Because, one of the things that I think is baffling to me, but then I come to understand, I've asked a lot of people, especially straight people, have you ever sat and had a conversation, just chit-chatting and talking to a transgender male or female? And most people that I ask that, they say no. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I have a lot of transgender friends. It's because I'm inside the community. And I think I take that for granted because I expect you to understand the way I understand, but it's only because of my exposure.
Yeah, we don't have the same exposure.
So I would really love to have those conversations, and I'm going to reach out to some and see who would be interested in doing so if they're open to it, because it's exposure. And your exposure to that conversation, you, the viewers, could change how you see them. Because I'm going to tell you right now, sitting across the table from my transgender friends, I don't think of them as my transgender friends. They're just my friends. I just know who they are, and it happens to be part of their story. But I don't look at them like, that's my gay friend, that's my transgender friend. They're just people.
Well,
and we want to humanize.
But again, also because the way that not only are you exposed to them, but you meet somebody and you meet them how they are, and you're like, this is who they are.
Right. I didn't go through that with you.
Correct. There's a very big difference in meeting someone the way that they are, or meeting someone who they are at the moment, and going through that transition with them. And as much as it is their life and it's their choice, it does affect, and there's ripples around the people that love them, their family members, people that are supporting them, and they're going through this together. And I would love to understand their perspective, and not only their perspective, but understand their feedback on what they received from, people that love them, and how they were supported or not supported, and just kind of understand that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So this conversation that we're having right now, I feel it to be so important. And we talk about these things all the time. And how do you think we can normalize these important conversations when there's such a big divide and people's opinions are not as respected as they should be?
I think the only way to answer that is by having these conversations, by increasing people's exposure. Now, if you're talking to somebody who's closed-minded and they're not open to having the conversation, there's nothing you can do, regardless of the topic. If you're trying to talk to somebody about any topic and they're closed-minded, they're not interested in your opinion, they don't even hear you, stop talking to that person. Close that person off, because they're not having this conversation. I have had a lot of conversations in the last 2 years of my life, and I'll be 36 this year. So from 34 to 36, I have had really, really, really big conversations that shaped how I view everything in the world around me, because I've had those conversations with Black people, with women, with lesbians, with gay people. These conversations, if you don't choose to have the conversation, you're choosing to stay ignorant. And I believe that it's not your fault if you hadn't had exposure, right? It's not your fault if you don't have transgender friends. But ask yourself, why don't you? Are you avoiding it? Do you think of it negatively? Are you open to it? Are you willing to see them as people? And this is just one bullet point, but it's to make the example. Are you open to opening your mind to it? And I'm very blessed. I've got a lot of people who love me, who have nothing to do with being LGBT. And I'm very grateful for that, and I never take it for granted. I go into your home, and there's, a lot of gay men like me have very difficult relationships in this life, with the dominant male figure because we were scared of our father and we have all that trauma. And I'm very grateful. You know what? I go into your home and there's a bunch of them running around and they all love me and they all put their arm around me and they all treat me like crap, like they do their straight son. Like they tell me we got to go drink and they push me around. And you know what? I love it because they don't look at me like, oh, that's her gay friend. Or they don't look at me like, no, it's just, I'm just part of the family and they love me. So how do we have this conversation when it creates such a divide? Is being willing to have the divide and respectfully understand it. I will say this and we'll move on. Recently, somebody was posting something on Facebook, and when I commented, I went back because I wanted to see, like, nobody responded. That's not possible because why write good things? And I went back and my comment was deleted, and I posted on my page. It's a real shame that people are now deleting comments, and I'm not talking about disrespectful, nasty people because I delete those too.
Yeah.
But you delete a comment because it differs from your own, which means the only people you want in your bubble have to think like you, act like you, talk like you, and probably look like you. So you want to talk about making this world a better place, but you're keeping yourself very boxed into what you want to look at. And in my opinion, as an extremist mentality, it's a Hitler mentality. If you're not in this box, if you don't look like me, think like me, act like me, believe everything like me, then you're wrong and I don't want anything to do with you. And
well, the biggest issue
we're going to live in, like,
the biggest issue that I find is that people are not interested in learning and in growing and in, it's uncomfortable. Oh, who wouldn't love you? She's not wrong though. It is uncomfortable right before you learn something and right before you start opening your mind. It's uncomfortable. And most people don't like it. They don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't think that they can learn anything new. They think they know it all. Or they're just like, I don't want to talk about that.
God forbid you inconvenience yourself to feel uncomfortable for 30 minutes to understand somebody else's life and their situation, to open your mind to how we can be better humans in this world. It is the exact problem we have overarching in this world. That's a rainbow. I just said like a rainbow. It's pride. Because that overarching and a rainbow arches, it just made sense. That's a problem in our world. We only want to understand ourselves, our problems, our needs, our want. It's bad.
We've become very selfish. It's like me, and nothing else matters. And speaking of understanding, that's going to lead me to my next question. So the LGBT community tends to publicly express who they are, whether it's with bumper stickers, watch bands, rainbow merchandise, this right here. Why? Where does that come from? What's the dealio?
I will tell you, I mean, I think the core of that comes from feeling unaccepted and wanting to say, like, you know, this is who I am, and I want it to be accepted. We are taught culturally that you are to be proud of who you are, and that's why it's called gay pride. And I don't necessarily disagree with the notion. I don't think that if you don't have a bumper sticker, you're not proud. I will tell you, I personally, in college, I wouldn't have a bumper sticker because I didn't want anyone to bash my car. I would always say that. Like, I feel like it was like calling attention. Why would I want to label my car so that if somebody is dumb and they think I'm terrible, they throw a rock in my window? I was like, maybe not. I didn't ever want a rainbow watch band because I was like, I don't want to walk into a store and talk to the lady, and because she's anti-gay and she looks at my watch, she treats me different. I am not hiding. I'm very open about who I am. But for me, it felt like I don't need to announce it. Now, I will say the older I get and the bolder I get, the less I give a shit what anybody else thinks. So at this stage, if I want to wear a rainbow, I wear a rainbow. But I still don't go to the extreme that some people do. And I'm not critiquing it. I think it is an expression and an outcry of like, hey, we're not equal. We aren't given the same rights. Our rights are on the table every other month in this country. It is difficult to feel this way. We aren't happy and comfortable walking to our car at night. And so for a moment, in a bubble that we create, because we create a gay pride bubble and events and a bar, and in those bubbles, we're like, I'm safe here to be all I can be. And sometimes it trickles out and it trickles over. You know, look at this comment: being loud and proud for those who are not or are scared to be. That's why we celebrate. So that's a beautiful sentiment to do it so that other people who maybe don't feel like they can see it and be like, oh, it's yeah, I love that. You ain't see Pretty Woman? Go back to that store, Loud and Proud. Big mistake. Huge mistake.
So with that being said, Loud and Proud, do you believe or do you think that maybe the efforts of the LGBT community and its history of struggle to be accepted or getting the correct spotlight, is there a chance at that point maybe getting missed in any way? And what I mean by that is like the history of, the 60, 70-year-old couples that had to lie and pretend they were just best friends and roommates. And
so I will tell you, I do. I do, because I do believe that it is simplified to be a celebration, a party, a parade. And again, I'm not against it. I went to all of it, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I studied LGBT history. In college, I took classes. I read books about lesbian history, things that I had no personal reason to want to know, except it's part of, I can't say I'm part of something, but leave a part out. And I think that gay men are guilty of that because we have a separation even in our own community. I wanted to know more, and I've always been this way. I'm hungry to know more about all of it. I want to know different cultures, religions, and backgrounds. And so how can I be a responsible adult gay male if I don't know any of my gay history? And when I say gay history, I'm talking about all of it. What happened in this country? Who fought for our rights? I'm talking about pop culture, music. How did people like George Michael and Prince, who some people thought were gay, but nobody ever said they were gay, and how did they make it? And why were there gay people? I say gay. I'm labeling them all gay. I don't know if they were. Like Juan Gabriel. How come my grandma was so anti-gay but loved Juan Gabriel and loved Sammy? How come? Like Guatemecado was not gay. He was un astrólogo. Cáncer.
He was like a trans. He was borderline. Yeah. I'm like,
every week
he was like a woman.
Cáncer, dime cáncer.
Everybody was like, shh, cállate que viene Wanted.
I love it. Great documentary on Netflix if you haven't seen it. But
we love him.
So this message goes out to anybody watching this who is under 30 years old. Do you know why gay pride happens? Do you know why it started? Do you know about the Stonewall riots? Do you know who Marsha P. Johnson is? Do you know transgender names that actually threw rocks in riots so that we could actually have a right? Do you know when gay marriage became legal because you grew up in a world where it was already legal? Do you know what it took to get there? Do you know what's happening in the Supreme Court right now that possibly they want to fight against it? And what does that mean? Are you informed in a place that your gay rights that you are given, that you want equality so bad? What does that even mean? What is equality and who fought for it? And how do you respect and honor that? Are you giving back? Are you mentoring younger people? I'm not doing enough of that. I've already admitted that, and I'm going to change that. My point is, it's more than just a party. And I do believe you are right. Let's party, but let's also be better humans and know our history. I studied my Cuban history. I studied my Jewish history. You know, my mom's Jewish. I'm not Jewish anymore. I was saved and baptized. So I don't know which door I'm going in. I'm going in one of them. But my point is, I knew about the Holocaust. I knew about, Cubans coming over here to this country. Why do people not have a hunger to know more? We've got the world at our fingertips, and all we're doing is watching drama or cat videos. Like, there's so much more to watch. We're also watching Terry and our first friend, find joy. So we're also finding fun things, and that's great too. But you get
us, and we're watching us, and that's
and you're
okay.
watching us because we're people.
But
like
you're making such amazing importance, and just I love everything that you've just said because it's
and remember
all
what
about.
I said. If you don't know, it's okay. Yeah. You can literally start to know tomorrow. You can start tomorrow. Yeah. Pick up a book. Pick up an article. Read. Learn.
Yeah, let's be loud, let's be proud, but let's be educated because that is going to give everything else so much more meaning, I would have to believe. What you're fighting for, the gear that you're wearing, it's going to mean something else for you.
It all starts with something. So if you're watching this and you don't know who Marsha P. Johnson is and you don't know the history behind the Stonewall riots, start there. I guarantee you will have emotional ties to what pride actually means to a lot of people. If you want to know about lesbian history, a great book that I read in college was called The Stone Butch Blues. Fantastic book. And guys, just like reality and all history, there's a lot of painful stories there, but you got to know about them. You have to.
That's so important. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, because I think that's key to understanding, not only for the community, but for everyone else, you know?
I'm really glad you triggered that, because I would have been wrong to miss that very important statement on this show.
So important, like for everyone, for us, for myself included. I don't know anything about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's amazing. Okay, so one last question for you.
Yes.
You've been such a wonderful
in the hot
what do you
seat.
call an interviewee? What do I call you?
Yeah, in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat. You've been doing great, hot tamale over there. Okay, so where is it? Oh, all right. So let's really quick. You don't have to even make this long.
Yep.
Do you believe that all of the terms that are now commonly used for the LGBT community, both in regards to sexuality and gender identities, can be confusing as well as overwhelming to those on the outside? Do you believe that these individual terms are needed, and why?
Yeah, I will say this. Do I believe it can be confusing to people on the outside? Yes, because it can be confusing to those of us on the inside. So absolutely. And again, there is a difference behind somebody not knowing and genuinely just they didn't know, to somebody who wants to lessen your value or how important it is to you, right? Do I think it's necessary? I don't really have a strong opinion there. I think that if you feel it's necessary to title yourself a certain way, then have at it. I think you need to have grace for other people not understanding. For example, if you start running around and saying you're pansexual, I know it's not new. I know pansexual has existed a long time, but we didn't say it like we do now. We didn't hear it like we hear it now. So it wasn't as commonly brought up as it is now. And so when people say to me, like, what even is that? I'm not offended by that. I let them know what it is. And guess what? Sometimes in those kind of conversations, I got to pull up Google, because there's so many different layers of it that I'm like, wait, let me not misspeak. And
because
something that I find very important and confusing to a lot of people is the difference between gender identity and sexual orientation. So, for example, and then we'll shift through to the end of the show. When somebody says they are a transgender woman, meaning they were born in a male body and they believe they are a woman and they have surgery and they're transgender, and then they start to date a man, and somebody says, oh, so they were always gay. You are disqualifying their transitioning experience, because if they are a woman and they are married to a man and having sex with a man, let's say, they are a heterosexual woman. If you take away the fact that they're now a woman, you're saying you don't see them as a woman, you see them as an other. So that conversation confuses people, because they're like, wait, so you were a man and now you're a woman, but you sleep with a man, so you're just a gay man? So like, they're two separate conversations, and not everything has to fit into your head. Not everything has to be clear to you. And that's why the way you learn and get this is having conversations with those people and saying, and
okay. I agree, because guess what? When I was growing up, there was gay, there was straight, and then transgender started, buzzing around when I was like in my mid-teens, to like young adult, right? Those were the three. Now, I mean, I joke around with it and I'm like LGBT, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because I am like, well, wait a minute. But doesn't this mean kind of the same as that? But then the other one is kind of the same as this. And then, so it is very confusing. And I feel like the community does need to extend grace and understand that these are new terms for a lot of people.
I want to talk on this comment. So I'd like to have a conversation without having to be like, did I use the right pronouns? Did I misgender them? It's very confusing and unnecessary. And I'm going to tell you, love everything until the word unnecessary, because unnecessary takes away from that person's feelings and how they feel what they need. But I'm going to say this. You want to know how you have conversations with people without having to worry about you using the wrong pronouns? If you want to be respectful of the person and you want to go to that level, because you can ask them, what are your preferred pronouns? But in the event that I looked at Pookie and I said she, well, Pookie looks like a woman. So by all intents and purposes, in my head, she, right? If she said, I'm so sorry, I don't like she, I go by they, them. And I said, oh, okay, sorry, oops. No biggie, right? Because I didn't misgender them to insult them. I didn't know any better. Yeah. Now, if they're like, hey, that's not my pronoun, I'm not she. It's like, that's what I'm talking about, the grace. Like, bring it down a notch.
But that's
not
where
attacking you. Not everyone is attacking you. Let them understand.
So this message is coming across from our youth, right?
From a youth, yep.
From a youth. This is what I'm talking about. This is a reality that's going on in our youth, where that comment is coming from a place where it's like, well, geesh, my bad. Like, what, how do I know? And that is what frightens me. And that's what I originally started saying, that these are the things that the community and the elders in the community and people that have been in the community for a lot longer, I feel need to do a better job at guiding our youth and allowing them to understand the grace, the proper education, the understanding that this is everyone's growing, everyone's evolving, everyone's changing. And it doesn't have to be so cutthroat. It's okay. It's okay. We're not here to offend and piss people off and do it to be spiteful.
And look at this comment, from a teacher, a friend of ours. I have a student that's registered as male, but they go by a girl name. I always get nervous using pronouns. I don't know what to say. Again, my answer to you, just from an advice standpoint, is A, you can ask them and use what they want, or you can refer to them by their name and not worry about pronouns. And typically people don't get offended if you refer to them as they, them. So if you're unsure, you could say, yeah, they were there. Yeah, they were at school today. And it doesn't offend people because you're not misgendering them into one gender or another. I understand it's complicated. And I understand
it's complicated. It's new.
And it's not the same for everyone. So it makes it difficult.
So the fact that an educator has to walk on eggshells because she's afraid of,
that's the part I don't agree with. You're right. That's where I'm like, have grace and like explain it.
And that's where I feel like the community within the community needs to make sure that youth is understanding these things. Absolutely. Because I don't think it's fair and I don't think it's right that someone that's coming with love, that's an educator, that's a student, that's a friend of theirs, that has to think like, oh my God, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want, and the reason they feel that way is because they're made to feel that way.
Because there's no grace. I absolutely agree.
So I think it's an opening, eye-opening both ways. We can always just ask so that we don't offend. And then there has to be those conversations within the community with the youth coming up that, hey guys, you know what? Let's give these people a break. Let's educate them. Let's come with love. Not everyone's out to get you. So that it's easier on both ends.
Yeah. So now, before we do go to our closing and wrap up today, I want you to share a little bit about your story. Obviously, there's a lot of layers in your life, right? You have a lot of different titles in your books.
So, just as quickly as I possibly can, thank you guys so much for tuning in and being here with us for this very long but really important show. I've had a wonderful experience till right now. I hope you guys are learning a lot. I know I am.
Great conversations, and I love the comments.
This has been amazing. I love everybody chiming in. I think we've had really, really good information come through today. So I want to be able to give my point of view, my perspective, my journey through the LGBT community. So I will say this. You were the very first part of, you were like that little door that opened up in my LGBT community world. And when I met you, you were what, 15, maybe 16? I don't know how old you were. You were?
Nope. I was 13.
13. Okay. And I knew you. The minute I saw you, it's like I saw through you. Keep it going. Yes, we're loving. You have no idea.
You were like, hi, nice to meet you, gay.
Yeah. I was like, hey, nice to meet you. Oh, he is so gay. Well, Who needs clarification?
Nobody asked me my preferred anything.
Hell no. Everybody knew it was like, oh my gosh. He is fabulous as they come. And I remember your mom, just really quick. She would say,
I knew it. That's why I said,
because I was like, she's so dumb. Sandy, I love you, but hello. She was like, oh my God, my son's such a ladies' man. He's always around the girls. And I swear to God, I almost fell in my seat.
And what did Abuela say? That you were robbing my innocence by me staying at your house?
She wished. She knew good as well wasn't robbing shit. She was hoping. She was like, maybe he'll hitch up and no, Abuela, I'm sorry. I do not have the right package for him. No. Listen. It was so funny. She hated me for the longest time. The longest I was like, she hates me. She was like, she's stealing it. What was it? His innocence.
Did you hear me? Too much. Scared the kids.
Too much. So I am dying. I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, so here's this kid that walks into my life and he was fabulous. And I loved him from the minute I spoke to him. I didn't like you the first few times. You were annoying. You opened my eyes to that part of the world. I didn't have that experience with anybody. I met your friends. I would go visit you in Orlando. And then
the stories.
A few years later, my sister came out and my youngest sister, and she was like, okay, I have a girlfriend. And it was like, oh, okay. She had dated guys before, but there was always an essence about her where it was like, it didn't shock me. It was kind of like, oh, I see it. Okay. I can see how she would be a lesbian and that was that. So now I had my gay best friend and I had my gay sister. And we were just the three best gay friends that anybody could have. And about a year and a half ago, my daughter came out. And I was completely blindsided because she had always only dated guys.
Let's clarify.
No.
Let's clarify coming out because.
No. It was, here's my girlfriend. I think I like a girl and this is my girl. To me, I don't need clarification. That's coming out to me.
No. I know you didn't. I know you didn't need, but the reason I say that is because I was like, wait, what? Wait, because we were taught you had to have a coming out story, and I'm like, I'm dating a girl. I was like, what?
Well, I remember my first conversation with her about it, where it was over the phone, and she was like, Mom, I like this girl that I work with, and I was like, oh, okay. You like her, and she was like, yeah, like
buena gente, or
I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, we get along so good. And like, I like her. I think I'm getting like feelings for her. And I'm driving and all I'm thinking of is, okay, she's never dated a girl before. She's only dated guys. And I legit was like, please be sure, because this girl is sure. She had told me about the story and she knew she was a lesbian. And I was like, don't hurt her. And that was legit my concern over this person I didn't even know, just because I was like, that would be very unfair to this person that you're fond of, that you say you have feelings for. You don't want to hurt her feelings. So just be very clear with what you want to do. And she was like, no, of course, I would never do anything to hurt anybody. And fast forward, she brings her home one day and she's like, Mom, this is Patty and this is my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, whatever. And all I can say is, I can't imagine them not together.
Mm-hmm.
And
great. She's crying right now. I felt that.
The love that she has for my daughter. I couldn't ask anybody to love her as much as Patty does.
Oh, now we're all gonna cry. Stop it.
I just feel like she's been such a blessing in her life. I've never seen Jackie this happy. And as a parent, there's never a question in my mind. All I want is my kids' health and their happiness.
That's it.
So I feel like she's been a blessing to the family. We do. We love Patty so much.
Hey, Patty.
Team Patty. So I just wanted to show a couple of.
Se jodió. Forever.
She's part of the family. Yeah. Forever. And we love you, Patty. And you are definitely part of our family. And even though I could have never imagined you being a part of the family, because I really, I would have never thought it. Like I said, I don't imagine it, you not being a part of our family right now. And we love you so much.
Patty, it's because you have tetas.
That I love her because she has tetas?
No,
or that Jackie loves her because she has tetas?
You didn't imagine her being part of that.
You're so stupid. So, to everyone that doesn't know them, this is Jackie and Patty. And look at the smiles on their faces. And let me tell you, she is a saint because I love my daughter with every ounce of my body. She is a pain in the ass, dude. My dude. The patience that Patty has. We love you. Thank you for putting up my baby girl, the brat that I created.
Thank you for taking some of her time away from us.
Oh. Sam's like, preach.
Everybody knows.
So I just wanted to share that story a little bit about, why I am so involved emotionally in the LGBT community. I am surrounded. Some of the most important people in my life are part of the LGBT community. And I love you guys all. You guys are such an important part of my life. You make up part of who I am. I can't imagine my life without you. My sister, obviously, she was like my first child, my baby sister. And I love you guys so much. And it became very personal to me in so many different aspects and levels. And now as a mom of LGBT children, because they're both my girls and I love them. And actually, my younger baby girl's kind of, going through her developing and her growing and finding herself and who she is. And I'm here for all of them. I love them all no matter what. I don't know how to love my kids or anybody that I do love any other way. And yeah, that's why I feel so strongly about everything that we just talked about. And I love you guys, all of you.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so happy we had this conversation. I love that we could sit here for 2 hours and everybody sat here with us. I love that we are not scared to have the tough conversations and disagree on certain things or see things differently, because it's not always about agreeing or disagreeing. Sometimes it's just different. I love that you teach me what it's like to think like a parent, because I don't have that experience, at least not yet. I love that you're listening and open to listening to people who live life completely different from you. And I love that you shared this, because again, there are people out there who are watching this saying, God, there's my mom doesn't accept me, or they don't have their mom, and they are going to see just this one little moment. And I believe moments like this save lives. I truly do, from the bottom of my heart, because somebody can see this and say, hey, it's okay. There's people out there who are willing to wear their rainbow flags together, even if they're not gay, and love on everybody and hug their children. And we can all go to the damn barbecue together and enjoy yelling across at each other about stupid stuff. And I love it. Yeah. And I appreciate the comment on my arm hearts. That's the best I can do.
Thank you. This is why I love her so much. See?
And so, anything else before we go to our special video?
No, I think we have such a treat for you guys.
We
if you
do.
can believe
And
there's more.
I will be posting this video separately, so I expect everyone to share it. This special video separately from the 2-hour video.
Yeah, not this 2 hours.
No, yeah. I mean, share it too.
I mean,
if you
share
want.
this anyway, but yeah.
So we're gonna play this video. Pookie hasn't seen it either. We're gonna watch it. We'll come back and we'll come back to say good night. So
yes,
take a look at a special gift from all of us crazies to all of you watching. Everyone, here's some loving messages from some really awesome people. Wait! Happy Pride, everyone. Here's some loving messages from some really awesome people in our lives.
Love is love. Always choose love. You got this.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I wish you a happy Pride Month. Just remember that love is love.
Love is equal in all forms. Happy Pride.
Hi, I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes with you guys. Love who you want, be who you want, and surround yourself with people you love. And remember that no one can stop you from being who you're meant to be. Happy Pride! Life only gets better from here. We love you.
The best things in life are the people we love, the places we've been, and the memories we made along the way. Love yourself.
The bravest thing you could be is yourself. Love yourself.
Hi, happy Pride Month, and all I gotta say is that we're human and love has no sexual preference. We need to learn that and respect others.
Always be true to oneself.
There's so much craziness going on, and we lost touch with what we are. We're humans. Just respect people, respect their bodies, respect their opinion, respect their soul, respect their happiness.
When people don't believe in you, just ignore them and use them as fuel or energy.
Happy Pride Month! Remember, love is love. You are never alone. Mwah.
Has a story. Everyone has something they've been through that has changed them. So don't judge someone by the chapter you walked in on.
God share his love with everybody. He never separates us with him love, because he always, he protects us about the emergencies that we have.
Hello everyone. God is love. God love everyone. Deus é amor. Deus ama todos. Bye.
Always be yourself and follow your heart. That is all we can aim to do in this life. The people that love you, that really love you, will always stand by you no matter what. We need kindness. We need love. We need authenticity. The world is way too full of replicas. So be yourself, be proud, and stay loving every single bit of that beautiful, wonderful you that you are.
Life can be crazy, and sometimes it can be a little difficult, emotional, stressful, give you anxiety, make you feel alone, unseen, unheard, and definitely misunderstood. I'm here to tell you, the more you connect with people and the more you find people that you can call your tribe, the more you will realize that we all have a lot more in common than any ability to count what we have that is unalike and sets us apart. I know sometimes it feels difficult. It feels like it's not going to get better. I can't make it through this. I just want you to hear my heart and hear the messages on this video to know it does get better. It is worth it. Love wins. You are worth it. You are awesome. You were made this way. You are full of life and full of love. There is nothing wrong with you. And we are so happy that you're here watching this video and hearing a message that reminds you, you are awesome. And one last thing, love is love.
That was beautiful. How amazing was that? Thank you to every single person that came on and sent their video. We love you guys so much. Those baby girls, all of them, they were so beautiful. Can we shout out to Olivia's heart? Can she show you how it's done?
Yeah, she's got to show me how to do.
She sure did. She killed it. No, you need your lessons first. But it was beautiful. What a beautiful message. What a beautiful show filled with love and understanding and happiness and laughter, and just that's life. You know, we always say it and we mean it. And it's the tribe, guys. And for anybody watching this video that is going through the struggle of not being understood and feeling that you are alone, you're not. Just find your people. Find your tribe. I promise you, sometimes we're born into a family that we can't relate to. And believe it or not, I do understand what that feels like. You find your tribe, you make your family, and you make it what you always wanted it to be and what you need it to be. And trust me, you can find your happiness in that.
Thank you to everyone who submitted a video. I'm honestly just very touched. I believe videos like this in the world we're in save lives. That's all I can say. And it means the world to me. It's not about me. It really is. I love me. I'm loved. I'm not struggling with this, but so many people are. And so it really does touch my heart. And I love the video so much. And if anyone didn't get to do one and you want to send one in, we'll make a part 2. I don't care. We'll keep making them. Yeah. I think it's beautiful. And I love it so much. Those little girls, they just touch my heart because they're the view of the grandkids you're talking about. They are the view of
the change in this world and the acceptance and the love and
pure love, pure innocence, love, no judgment, and just love and telling people God is love. It's all love. So
yeah. And it's coming. It's coming. Let's just have the grace and the positivity. Let's be the change that we want to see, because I promise those little girls are going to be our age and they're going to have completely different experiences with their children, God willing, and it's going to be amazing for everyone. I think we're going to call it a night. And we appreciate you guys so much for joining us. Go find your tribe now more than ever, especially after this video. If you don't have one, go find it. Life is better when you do it together. If there's anything that we can hope that you guys gather from these shows, is that we're doing this together. We're creating a community. We're furthering our love. We're giving it out to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and spending time with people like us.